Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us on another edition of FDCI Insights. Today, we're dealing with a very, very important conversation. How do we navigate through the COVID-19 pandemic with mental discipline? Why are we calling it mental discipline? Because the fact that there is mental distress at this time is actually quite obvious. But how do we discipline our minds and our brains to be more productive and be more present to deal with the current circumstances? That's what we're discussing today. My name is Radhika Bajaj, and joining in today are very recognizable names from the fashion industry. And also, we're joined by Kumaar Bagrodia, who is the founder of NeuroLeap, a company which is into neuroscience and deals with brain enhancement. On the fashion design side, we're joined by one of the most iconic designers that we know, Manish Malhotra. A warm welcome to you. Also, senior designers Anjana Bhargav are joining in, along with Raakesh Agarwal, and also Ayushman Mitra, who is a designer and an artist, is joining us today. So let me start by asking you, Manish. You are somebody who we know is always out and about. You are at social gatherings. You're traveling for work all the time. But if one looks at your social media feed today, let me be honest, it feels like that you're still very much out and about. You're engaging with charities. So clearly you're dealing with this very, very positively. How are you coping?
So, initially I was like kind of a bit taken aback when the lockdowns were announced. But of course, 2-3 days before that also I was at home. So, one thought that is the right thing to do. And then, of course, everybody's gone through their time of feeling bored or feeling like, where are we heading to fall? Thinking about the losses, the stress that is going to happen because you want to support your teams, but the stores are shut and there's salaries and rents to pay. So it's a huge loss to the business. But I think that I lost my dad in November. He was 91 years old, and my mother is with me. My parents, I've always lived with my parents. So I live with my mother, and she's 88. So I think it's a lot of quality time with her. And in fact, now she seems to be more fed up because she's missing her club because she wants to go to play cards. But I think I kind of adapted to the situation and said that one is I directed my mind towards my weight loss. It's something I've been wanting to do for the past 3 years and I've not been able to do. And so I got really involved in that, and also in things that I've not done, which is introspecting, thinking. It's been 30 years of working in the movies, 15 years to my label, non-stop work, non-stop travel. So I thought that what are the things that I've not done or not been able to, I must do them now. So that's what I started working towards, and I think my mind is really occupied with that, and also discipline. I continue to wake up early. I wake up very early, 5:36 in the morning. I get ready with perfume, hair done, everything. I made one of the part of my house into an office. I said even if I do little bit work, I must do it. Like I have coffee tables, books at home, which I hardly go through. So I'm trying to do all those things that I never really got the chance to do. And I think I occupied myself in that. And even I thought I must go into a throwback lane. So I go through my phone. I put up pictures on Instagram, which are, viewers. I kind of clean up the pictures also. So almost like clearing a clutter from your mind. And yeah, that's what I've been doing. So I guess that's what reflects on my social media as well.
Yes, and some of us are actually inspired just looking at your feed, and there's positivity beaming through, and that's what we need right now. But an important aspect that you mentioned was there are teams to run, there's a business to run, there are salaries to be paid. So Anjana Bhargav, at a time like this, what are you doing to sort of ensure that the morale of the team is up? Because that's really critical, isn't it?
It is. At times it's easy to cope with our own stress because we know our own highs and lows. But to communicate with your team is as important. And I realized this as we went through these weeks. The design team and the merchandisers are easier because we're all on the same page. We can share our ideas. We can do it through technology. We can Zoom call, we can conference, and we have a lot of things that are emerging even there because you never get to know them as people, you get to know them as colleagues. And now we are getting to sort of know each other, even as people, what motivates us, what we like, what are our personal highs and lows. But it is when I got a call from one of my karigars saying, Madam Ji, I will go mad. The four walls of my house will eat me up. My children's screams will drive me crazy. That I realized that it is not only the design team it is the skilled artisans that we work with are also important. So I realized that he has a machine at home, and his brother, who has a painter, was not in town. So there was a spare room next to him. So we hired that room, and I made him put his machine in that room. And I said, pick up the dhotis that your brother has. The painters use these dhotis to clean windows. We bought those dhotis from the stock, and he started producing masks with a lot of grumbling. It's an old machine, production nahi hogi. I said, never mind, you start. It's been 3 or 4 weeks down the line. He has made about 300-400 masks, and now his neighbors have started to ask him, "Ek mujhe mask de do." I said, give them free, give them to your friends, to your family, to whoever asks you. Just give it. So now every few days he's calling me. He's elated. Not only is he productive, but he has become the hero of his locality.
So it's really guiding team members to be more positive and continue to do something on a daily basis.
Exactly. Similarly, we had embroidery carriers who were getting, demotivated. Their only thing is to work. So we said, whatever you have at home, start sampling with that. And now they're excited to show those samples to us. Some are with paper, some is with wool, some is with thread, but they're excited and they're motivated. So it made me realize sometimes a small gesture can actually turn a down moment into a happy.
That's a great way of looking at it. That's a great way of looking at it. Ayushman, we are all creative people here, right? And often it's said that designers find their inspirations when they're outside, but we are cooped up in our homes. Some of us are with family, luckily, some of us are alone. But does this circumstance, this gloominess, really affect your creative process? Does it hamper it?
Hi, good afternoon. I'm sure it does play a part somewhere, but essentially I can talk about myself. I'm a painter first, and whatever I produce, whatever I create is a social commentary on whatever is going on around us, right? Whatever we are facing as a team, as humans all around the world. I think we have to take the positive and we have to try and introspect. It is a great time to create more and edit, because a lot of times, because of deadlines, because of shows, because of consignments, you end up doing a lot and you don't have enough time to look at your own work, think over it, ask for criticism, and then edit it. So this gives you enough time to sit through, introspect, look at your own work, and somehow draw inspiration from things that are happening around and put it in a manner that can produce some joy to the people that are really suffering, produce some amount of joy to the people who might be looking at it from, their homes in a situation of lockdown. So it's a great narrative to give out to people, the hope that art can, produce.
Sure, it's a clean canvas in many ways, because these are situations we haven't dealt with before. But Raakesh, if I can move on to you, there is a certain energy that you feel when you're working with teams or you're working with people, but now we're all physically distanced. Is that impacting you? And when it does, how do you train your mind to get over it and do something positive?
Radhika, my answer to this question in 2016 would have been very different. But now it's actually very, very different. Because I just relaunched the brand on October 22nd, and I don't have a big team at the moment to handle. And most of the team who are with me, they are mostly freelancers, okay, and they mostly are a young generation who are, we were already working on platforms like Zoom, and there is so much to get inspired on the internet. We don't even feel like, I'm leaving my home. You want to see Switzerland from sitting at your home, there is a phone available, right? So to be in touch with your teams, to be in touch with people. I'm also become last couple of years, I've become a very, I love my solitude. I love designing when I'm alone. I'm not designing. And, all these things about meditation and all. I mean, I agree. It's a great thing of having a meditation, keeping your mind calm and all that. But even when you are cleaning your fridge and you're doing it with your full heart, that itself is a meditation. So I have too many other interests other than fashion at the moment, Radhika. I love learning occult sciences. Cooking has been my passion from the day one. I've lost 50 kgs. So, there's lots that keeps me busy, and I really, really don't miss much going out now.
Okay, that's actually, it's a nice contrast to hear, Kumar, and that sort of brings me to you. Now, everybody has been through different situations in life, and every mind, every brain is different in the way we're responding to the circumstances around us. But as somebody who's into brain enhancement, what are you seeing around you? And are you also looking at sort of varied responses from different people?
Great question, Radhika. But at the outset, I must first compliment FDCI on picking up this very important topic. As fashion designers, what is the fraternity doing? In many ways, it is enabling people to live their dreams, right? And this lockdown, in some ways, has put those dreams on hold or pause for a while. And it's important, I think some of the comments I've heard from my fellow panelists, starting from Manish and Anjana, and even Raakesh and Ayushman have been that everyone's doing their own thing and in many ways looking inward, whether it is a conscious self-introspection mode or it is doing those little things like Raakesh said, doing your own cleaning and doing it mindfully. So Rakesh, that is a kind of meditation, to be mindful about what you're doing and to enjoy it and to take pleasure in it. And I completely agree what everyone has said. Anjana, your example about how, you employed your tailor to do something different, making masks and giving it out to the community. The key point here is that we all have to recognize that the mind and brain are two separate entities. The mind is an intangible, right? You can't touch it, you can't see it, and hence you can't measure it. So it is not always correct to beat yourself down to say, hey, I got to be more productive in this phase, I got to be learning, I got to be fit. You can if you want to, but even if you don't, there's nothing to feel bad about. But there are things you can do to take care of your brain, the organ which is physical and which responds to stimuli in the best possible manner on this planet. And what you do in terms of exercise, in terms of your sleep patterns, in terms of your diet, so many things can impact your brain and help you sort of have a healthier mind then.
Yeah, that's very interesting, actually, Kumar. What you said about what you can do to just give stimulus to your brain. And Manish, that sort of brings me back to you. On social media, we are sort of seeing this wave of memes which are about, if you don't learn any new skill or if you don't upskill during this time when you have all the time in the world, then you're losing out. Then you're not just you're not pushing yourself enough. Do you sort of stand by that, or your thinking is more like, let's just be calm and get through this? What school of thought are you with, Manish?
Well, for me, I think is that definitely there's something that when you look back at this entire long phase of your life, there is something that you should feel good about. That could be about, like Doctor said, about your mind or about your brain or about something that's physically your physical aspect, or something that's which you're feeling good by reaching out to people.
Yeah.
So I think that but I feel that I definitely stand for that. When you look back at this phase, there should be something that you've done, and it's not just a wasted space. So for example, like I have about 450 embroiders in-house, I have 110 tailors, I have a huge setup of assistants and everything. So on all my Zoom calls, I keep telling them about, like, a lot of them are just watching TV or they're enjoying cooking and all of that. So I feel that's fine. I don't pressurize that, oh, you must sketch in the day or you must work. It's nothing like that. But what I definitely tell them is to that I have a certain discipline, or think of something, or send me an article that you read which is good. Not necessarily send me a design that is good. So I think that like learning, spreading your what should I say, spreading your positivity and your mindset to them as well. That listen, don't just watch Netflix throughout the day, and also do something which is, that could be reading an article that or something that you write, a poem maybe. So I think that definitely once this whole phase is over, we should look back and think that, okay, there is something that we did. I think so.
Manish, you mentioned the scale of your operations and it's massive, right? Are you not stressed right now, given the economic situation? And, we're all thinking that this is not going to be over for a very long time. And the economic impact is going to be perhaps more lasting than the lockdown itself. Is there stress around that? And how are you managing that?
Oh, there's massive stress around that.
Yeah.
It's a huge loss. My brother, who looks into the accounts and who is in touch with all the embroiderers and tailors, he's constantly in touch with them. Where our workplaces are, there's small homes there where people needed some work for their livelihood as well. So we've asked them to make masks. So we made a lot of masks over there. Then Vishma is an NGO that I run with actor Shabana Azmi, which is in UP. So we've been doing work there as well. So he's been reaching out to people in terms of, we've announced that we'll not do any layoffs. That's so be rest assured that we are not laying off. So it is a lot of stress, but then how much do you think about it? So I've gone through that phase of thinking. Finally, I've said that now what has to happen will happen. So how can I be more critical? So when I speak to my teams also, before speaking about any work, I ask them, so what is it that you saw? What is it that you read? Send it to me, tell me, so to give that whole feeling of that it's fine, it will all get fine, But how much does one stress? Otherwise, you're just going to spend all these days of being stressed. So I guess you just have to leave it to the universe also and say, okay, what has to happen will happen. But there has to be a time where you also have to, think on what good can happen out of this. So, for example, like I'm thinking, I think about all my team and I keep writing that how can I resurrect this when it all starts? Or do I place, how do I do the entire new structure?
Yeah.
How will I innovate? How will there be innovation in my work? How can I reinvent my work? So I think you've got to start thinking that way. Otherwise, you'll just be stressing all these days about the losses.
That's very interesting. I think a lot of us are reimagining our new reality, rethinking business strategies. Anjana, are you also, in that school of thought that this is, like we were saying, it's a clean canvas right now. It's in a sense a fresh start. So business strategies are being rethought right now.
Yes, I think it is because, as Manish says, there's only that much you can stress about something and only that much you can use logic to get over. At the end of the day, we do have to find peace within ourselves. It is going to be a new normal. We are not aware of what the new normal is going to be. And most of us are going to reinvent ourselves. So we just have to wait and watch, keep calm within us, keep calm and peace with everybody who sort of depends on us or looks towards us for guidance, and just wait. And I think automatically something new, whatever it is going to it's going to start blooming.
Yeah.
It will happen.
Right.
We will be that larger movement, where all of us are going to say, hey, fast is not what we want. We want to slow down. And the pace is quite joyful and it is quite beautiful. And I think we'll all come to it.
Yeah,
with a little bit of
in fact, there is this whole conversation around slow fashion that's been, initiated after the pandemic. But Ayushman, coming to you now, we are talking to each other, very comfortably right now, thanks to technology, whether it's being connected or working or even entertaining ourselves. It is technology that we lean to. Now, one would imagine that only kids are asked, are you limiting your screen time? But I think we all have to do that to a certain extent right now. Are you doing that? Are you wary of how much time you're spending with screens?
I mean, in all honesty, of course, you do end up binge watching something if you really like something.
Yeah.
But I've never been addicted to the screen. So obviously, if me and my partner are watching something and that's what we do every evening, we do that. But in other ways, you also end up spending a lot of screen time with other peers and collaborators, because I end up talking to friends who are abroad or in different cities, and we try and think of an idea to collaborate on something, to send each other designs or drawings or articles, like Manish said. It's also a great time to connect with other people. It has to be through the screen, but we are all young and we are peers and colleagues all across the world, and everybody is facing something different, although similar. So it's great to put all the work together and let's see if we can produce something good out of it, So we are all trying to just do our best.
Yeah, so, Raakesh, that sort of brings me to you also, because you mentioned earlier that a lot of your team members are freelancers. They're perhaps, a younger age group, they're more comfortable around screens and, working remotely. So I'm getting a sense that you are probably dealing with this. You are, in a sense, more prepared to deal with this situation.
Actually, because, Radhika, at this point of time, everybody keeps saying, you develop a new skill, develop this, develop that.
Yeah.
Or to try and connect with the people. For me, at the moment, for what I've gone through in last 25 years, okay, and since my factory got burned down, studio got burned down and everything, at this time, again, when I relaunched, everything started again. Do this, do that, contact that buyer, do this show, do that show, and everything. For me, right now, it's the time where I'm connecting with myself. I love reading about occult sciences, as I said. I have 2 autoimmune diseases, which is very rare autoimmune disease. And, that is something which I've bought books on Kindle, and I'm reading on that, how to take care of that. There's a lot of things which I need to take care of myself first.
All right. I'm really glad that you're taking care of yourself at this time and focusing on self-care, which is important. But Kumar, we are already seeing on the panel that there are different opinions about whether you use this time to upskill or whether you use this time to introspect or, just focus on self-care. From your experience and the field that you work in, is there a balancing act that's possible between the two schools of thought?
Actually, Radhika, I don't think these are two different approaches. This is one and the same. We have to realize that self-care is not the opposite of learning, right? Or taking care of your emotional well-being by doing things that you enjoy is not necessarily slacking, right? You might be learning a few less things than hundreds of other people around you, but you're in a better place in terms of your emotional wellness and mental strength. And on the other hand, if you are already somebody who's able to manage that stress well, like Manish said, Anjana said that, listen, you can't keep thinking about what's going to happen. It is going to happen in any case. So let's start being positive and thinking about solutions, or creating new designs, new ideas, new lines, etc. So depending on where you are, we as human beings will keep seesawing. There will be phases where you will feel that, okay, I need to go out and learn. I need to have a regimen, whether it's a fitness routine, somebody wanting to lose weight or, gain muscle, or learning a new trick or learning a new hobby. Or it could be people saying that, listen, let me look at it from the bright side of just using this opportunity for passion and just finding joy in little things. Either is fine, and one is not diametrically opposite to the other. They are both going in the direction of building yourself.
That's well put, Kumar. Let's not look at things as black and white, but it could be both. Manish, giving the last word to you. Now there are days where all of us oscillate between feeling positive, and then there are days during this lockdown when we're feeling down and out, when we feel frustrated with what's happening because we're just stuck and nothing is moving forward. Or it may seem so. So Manish, on days when maybe you're feeling down, how do you back yourself? How do you push yourself? How do you say that no, I have to remain positive?
So we all have days like you mentioned. So earlier, I think in terms of my nature, I cut off that part where anything that's going to take me, in a lower mood or think, get stressed and all that. But I think this phase has taught me to know it's fine. You can stress, you can feel down, you can feel bored, you can feel like a bit low. So I sit actually and think about it. And I go within myself and go deeper on that. I said it's fine. So I've learned to accept that. I think what I've learned in this phase is that it's fine to feel a bit low. It's fine to stress and think about it for a while. But of course, don't dwell on it a bit too much. So that's how I deal with it. And I also give myself a plan. So for example, I give myself a certain challenge. So in this plan, I must try to finish. So there's a book that I'm coming out with. So I need to work on that book. Or I have so many coffee table books. I must see them in these next 5 days. Now, even if it's not, if I don't manage, then I keep them on my desk to say, I have to finish this.
Yeah.
So many things I've not been able to finish, and many things I've started new. So, but I think I've learned acceptance. Now, that could also be age. That could also be this time. That it's fine even if I don't finish it. Earlier it used to really bother me. No, I have to do it and all of that. So I think I've learned to say that, okay, everything is a mix.
Yeah.
And you just have to go through it.
Yeah, I think we're all learning new things, not just about people and things around us, but we're learning new things about ourselves. And in the long term, I personally think that's not a bad thing at all. If anything, it's going to help us think better, control our emotions better, be more productive, and really push ourselves, for a better future, because we're in this together. That's what we've been saying at the FDCI. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Manish,
Thank you,
Ayushman,
Fran.
Anjana, Kumar, as well as Rakesh for joining in. It's been
Thank
a
you.
wonderful conversation, and look forward to talking
Thank you,
with
Radhika.
all of you
Bye,
soon.
everyone.